Welcome to ThinqTanq, where our diverse leaders tackle your diverse challenges. Today we're looking at how to respond when someone says, "It's not just Black people that experience that." Uh-oh. I'm Kelly Macias, storyteller, tango dancer extraordinaire, and associate consultant for Ray Coach. Join me in welcoming today's awesome and multi-talented ThinqTankers. ThinqTankers, tell us who you are and where you're calling in from.
Hi everyone, my name is Asha Mehta. I have a consulting practice in leadership development for feminists of color. I'm calling from San Francisco, California.
Hello everybody, my name is Damon Packwood. I'm the creator and executive director of Gameheads, calling in from Oakland, California.
Hello, I'm Robin Ingram, Assistant Vice President at the Fund for Johns Hopkins Medicine, and I'm calling in from Baltimore, Maryland.
So excited that you all are here today. Let's jump right in. Here's today's challenge. Dear ThinqTanq, I'm not sure how to respond to something I'm experiencing repeatedly. Our company is launching a leadership development effort for African American high potentials. The effort was assigned as a growth assignment for a very young, very smart white woman who is considered a high potential herself. During our discussions, whenever one of us names a challenge commonly faced by African American leaders, this colleague will say, "And it's not just Black people, women face this too." Or, "As a woman, this is something I also have to deal with." I know she's trying to connect with us, but this not just Black people thing is really, really concerning and vexing. How should I address this? Or should I let it go? Signed, Black is enough, people. All right, so ThinqTankers, what do we think?
Yeah, don't let that go. No. Nip
All
that
right,
in the
David,
bud
I felt
now.
the energy from you. Say a little bit more about that.
I just think that's that's one of those small things that'll just continue to get bigger if you don't say something now. I think in the beginning is always the best time to say something, but it's just important to identify why that type of statement is sort of dismissive of the challenges that Black people go through. And that, connecting, it's good that they realize the connection part, right? Like that's cool, but we can connect in other ways, man. We can just go get coffee together. Like, we don't have to connect like that.
Asha, I hear you.
Yeah, I liked how you said that piece around we don't have to connect like that. That's a really important point. Like, we don't need to connect, like piggyback whatever our experience is on other people's oppression and make it similar to make us tight. Like, it's exactly the opposite. I think it's actually like really recognizing each person and how they face and what they face is different, and letting that stand that actually creates the connection. So I like that a lot.
Well, Asha, I like what you just said of really acknowledging the differences and letting that make the connection. In my mind, at first, I said, this woman needs to read the 1619 Project. Ooh. Like, we need to get her a copy and give it to her. Because it's not the same. And going back to Damon, what you said, I agree that there needs to be, don't call her out in the meeting, but, a one-on-one coffee conversation of really explaining to her, what that is doing, what her comments are doing, and the impact of those comments.
I'm also in the don't let it go camp, but I will confess that this has been me before. I've definitely wanted to join someone in connecting and also in shared struggle, and have said, oh, well, that's my experience too. And it's been helpful for me to hear when people say, I know you're trying to connect with me, and my experience is unique to me, because that allows me both to know, okay, so someone sees that I'm trying to connect with them, and sometimes I just need to be quiet and let that person actually just share what they're trying to share with me. So I join you all and don't let it go, and I confess I've been the person who has tried to connect in that way.
Yeah, and Kelly, I like the fact that you said, and, right? As in, I acknowledge that you're trying to connect with me, and, we don't have to connect with this, because that's the empathy part, right? Like, I do acknowledge that you're trying to, like, be here with me. And, I don't know, there's power in just being quiet. And that's something that takes practice.
Yeah, I Kelly and Robin, I want to say, well, one is thank you for saying that, because all of a sudden I flashed to when I was in college and I was just kind of awakening, and I had some Chicano friends and I wanted to join Mecha, like I wanted to join, and I'm an Indian woman, but no one taught me really. I didn't know, but I had a lot of Chicano friends, and I said, can I join? And I had a friend really take me aside and said, no, you can't. You can't join. and I was like, oh, so thank you, because I sometimes really go to that angry boundary place. But it's good to remember the other side of that. And Robin, I love how you always reach out across that, in these other conversations we've had. And I'm curious how you do that. Like, how do you reach out across that?
No, but it's so hard. And I actually did an article about this at work. And when it bubbles up, like you feel it in your gut that you have to say something, and I get nervous and I can start perspiring, and you can tell my voice is a little shaky or quivering. And so it's not anything that I do very coolly or calmly. But what I also say is that at the end, I've felt a sense of relief or peace. Like I said what I needed to say. And I remember watching a TED Talk by Lovey I.G. Jones, who said, is what you're saying true? Can you defend it? And can you say it in love? And, if you have those check boxes, then, you need to go ahead and push yourself to say it, even though it's going to be uncomfortable. So that's kind of just what I've experienced. So it, you can tell, physically I feel it, but then afterwards I felt the peace about it too.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. I like this idea of speaking your truth, even if your voice shakes. So that's what that made me think of. Robin, you mentioned the 1619 Project, right? Which is this beautiful Pulitzer Prize winning work, both a podcast and, I think there's a book coming out. There's also a booklet, right? It's a bunch of resources by Nicole Hannah-Jones from the New York Times. And I'm wondering, what came up for me was around the idea of resources just in general. And I wanted to ask the group, what kinds of resources might we offer for this person who wrote in to maybe share with their colleague that might be useful in this situation.
What was the name of the TED Talk?
It was called Getting Comfortable with Being Uncomfortable.
Yep.
Yeah. But I know that at work, we've built kind of a repository of books and, websites. And now it's you can do a search. I know that Harvard Business Review has attempted to, write articles trying to tackle these things as well. There's so many podcasts out there. Ibrahim Kendi.
Yeah, I think I went straight there in my head to this is historical. You know what I mean? It's not there's real facts around why it is that you and I, or them and they, do not have the same experience. And so So I thought about like Kimberly Crenshaw, intersectional feminism, like how, interlocking oppressions work with people. I thought about this comedy. I can't remember who it is, but it's called Reverse Discrimination. And I think it is a South Asian comedian who says, yeah, you can go ahead and say, you need white affirmative action and all this if this happens, like if we go back in time and then your people are enslaved and your people are brought to, and then you're denied voice, and then you're all this stuff, and it's this whole, like, it's just like a 3-minute comedy, and it's like, and then go ahead, say that. And it's like, I'll try to figure out who that is, but like comedy I think is good too.
Yeah, I love the idea, especially because these topics are so heavy that humor sometimes can be a really helpful and effective way of managing things. I also thought, and this touches on the point about Kimberly Crenshaw, who I love and I have stalked at multiple conferences, that multiple things can be true at once, right? So it can be true that women face some kind of discrimination and oppression. Yep. And it's also true that there is a particular type of oppression and discrimination experienced by Black people, and some people are both Black and women, right?
Exactly.
So we don't have to actually compete, right? There's space for all of that to be true, and so maybe that's part of the conversation too with this colleague, is to say, I hear that is true, and I'm telling you about a specific experience that is true for this group.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And when it comes to that idea of trying to connect, you'll get way more from the other person if you say, wow, I hear you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you'll get way more than I've experienced the very same thing. So, I think, again, like, that's just a simple matter of we've all done this before in some form or fashion, where we're trying to connect with people and we're just kind of going about it the wrong way. So, compared to the other challenges that we've discussed, this is one of the easier ones.
I mean,
yeah, for sure.
The last thing I would love to say, though, is that they don't have to educate this person if they don't want to. It's also about how you reaffirm yourself that, yeah, it's not the same, and do I want to, or how do I want to engage? It's my choice to, and also, like, people are all doing their work, or not, and I guess, like, there's just that also option to opt out,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't mind.
That's a powerful and underutilized tool.
Yeah, opting out is good. I just think it's important to just let people know, like, yeah, no, don't do that. Right? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then if you want to educate them, cool. But if you want to just say, yeah, just don't do that no more. Like, we cool, but just don't do that no more.
The boundary, right, yeah.
So we're out of time, but we ended where we started, which was the don't let that go. So I'd love to recap a little bit about what I've heard from our wonderful and brilliant think tankers. I heard don't let it go. There's an opportunity to actually talk about why that kind of thing is dismissive. I've also heard reference to the 1619 Project, and so referring this person to the Pulitzer Prize winning work of Nicole Hannah-Jones. You can Google it. It's worth it for sure. I heard a little bit about that we hear you, right? That we hear that that's frustrating, and that even when people are doing it in the spirit of connecting, it can feel dismissive and like you haven't been heard. And that lastly, you don't have to educate, right? That there may be times that you want to offer resources that this person can look at, but you may also want to say, no, I'm done. I'm just letting you know that this is not okay, and keep it moving. So all of those are options for you to utilize. So I want to thank our amazing think tankers. I want to thank the viewer who sent in that important and powerful question. And I want to remind the rest of you who are watching, if you have a challenge that you'd like us to discuss on ThinqTanq, please send your questions or challenges in to ThinqTanq@raycoach.com. That's ThinqTanq with Q's. And thank you so much. We appreciate you. We love you. We understand. We feel you. And sometimes you need to just not let it go. Thanks so much, and we'll see you soon.